It's not very often that the word fun or stylish wanders into the title of a car review of a Hyundai. But then again, Hyundai was recently referred to as the world's toughest car company by no less than Fortune magazine. Together with sister company Kia, they have cunningly avoided the global economic downturn and posted record sales figures in almost every major market. When pockets are empty and people are not in the mood to buy cars, Hyundai and Kia must be doing something and making offers that are difficult to refuse. In the car business, customers find it hard to refuse two things: low prices and great value. Hyundai has been trying to hitch itself off the low price bandwagon, and in the last few years, that began to come up with products that are genuinely pleasing to look at and equally satisfying to drive. Of course, it would be a stretch to say that Hyundai cars are now gorgeous and drive like BMWs, but the new models can certainly make the miles fade away far more pleasurably than before. The i30 tested this week is a perfect example of the quantum leap that is taking place at Hyundai. The car displays a level of build quality never before found in a Hyundai, and the use of better grade materials further strengthen that impression. That said, no one buys a car because of better plastics or shinier paints. Well, not in the first impulse anyway. The overriding reason behind a car purchase is usually good looks. If a car excites the buyer, then it is likely that money will be exchanged. It's hard being a Hyundai. The badge itself is not taken seriously, and whatever they do, people always still think less of them. The i30 has been described as European looking, and this is no mistake because the Korean car maker has been putting a lot of emphasis on Eurocentric designs, because let's face it, they're the most popular among buyers worldwide. The semi-cab forward proportions, sloping coupe-like roofline combines to create a look that is athletic, sporty and elegant. The crisp and confident detailing lifts the i30 away from its older siblings, giving it a more urbane and sophisticated air. Cabin design is perhaps slightly less European than the exterior, but it is still cohesive and generally pleasing to the eye and touch. Most of the surfaces have either been textured to be soft to the touch or covered in soft touch materials, and this helps to elevate the perception of quality inside the passenger area. Hyundai designers have paid sufficient attention to ergonomics, making sure that all major control dials and switches are within easy reach of the driver. They have also designed them to be easy and logical to operate. For example, the radio is stacked on top of the center console where it is easy to see. Now this is important because, let's face it, the radio gets the most work out in any drive as we switch from one station to another in chase of good music and the latest news. The climate control system is positioned below the radio at the mid-level, where they are easy to reach but slightly out of the line of sight of the driver. Now of course this is fine because we rarely need detailed information when changing aircon settings. If it's too hot, we'll just whack it to the colder setting and make final adjustments when the car is stationary at a traffic light or when we can actually look at the temperature setting in detail. We're now driving on the nice twisty roads along the shores of Ampangan Batu or Batu Dam's lake, man-made lake. It's a nice twisty road that's beautifully graded, it's well paved, it's well looked after. It's a favorite road, of course, on weekends among keen drivers and motorcyclists. Not had a chance to really push the car, so I'm quite looking forward to seeing what it can do here. The car feels planted in the corners. The steering gives a decent feedback. The engine is a bit rough, as you can see, as you can hear from the amount of noise it generates as it nears the red As I said, it's quite firm, but it has sufficient suppleness in the initial travel, which means that it can absorb road imperfections rather well. Even those cat's eyes are just reduced to just rumbles like this. The brakes on the i30 is also quite decent. We've been playing along this twisty road, overtaking and braking into tight spaces, and it has not shown any kind of fade. There's an acceptable amount of feel and feedback from it, from the pedal. My only wish is that the engine is a bit less gruff at high RPMs, because the chassis is rather wonderful. Maybe it is wonderful because we don't expect it to be a decent handler. In this case, it responds to mid-corner changes. You can play around with it. There is decent feedback. It's not the most talkative of chassis, but there is decent feedback. You can. The car does tell you what the front wheels are doing. I know the brochure says that this Hyundai is designed to appeal to European buyers, and therefore, we are, I suppose, induced into thinking that it has European driving qualities. Well, it's not too far from the truth, actually. You can't imagine doing anything nearly this speed in previous Hyundais without actually feeling nervous. In this car, it's hardly breaking a sweat. The chassis is never out of shape. It is just a major leap forward for this Korean car maker. Of course, the sister company Kia has also come out with a decent car in the Forte, and these two probably share a lot more than they would like us to know underneath. And I'm quite glad that they have made this leap forward, because then it would compel the Japanese to improve their game, and competition, as you know, is only good for the customers. That's us. This beta power unit is while it has sufficient power to keep the car going when you're already on the highway, when it's already at cruising speed, it does feel slightly flat in the mid-range, and it really gets noisy above 4,500 RPM. It's just I don't know, it just needs a bit more refinement, I guess, and that's what it is. But if you're driving sensibly and on the highway, 4,000 RPM, you're probably getting about 140 kilometers per hour already. So it's not really an issue. Here it is, 120 kmh is about 3,000 RPM, and at that speed, the engine is perfectly refined. Wind noise is well controlled. Tire noise is well within reason and modern standards. Now onto the technical bits. The 1975cc Beta Series engine cranks out 140 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, while peak torque of 186 Newton meters is achieved at 4,600 RPM. All that power is sent to the front wheels through a 4-speed automatic transmission, and together they can launch the car to 100 kilometers per hour in about 12 to 13 seconds. Front suspension consists of McPherson struts with lower A-arm and anti-roll bars, while the rear is located by a multi-link system. The i30 2.0 uses electric power steering, which helps to improve energy efficiency, but some people complain that it mutes steering feedback. Well, if there was any muting, it is negligible, especially in a family hatchback, even if it is a warmed-up family hatchback like this i30 2.0. The i30 2.0 is priced at $112,000, and this is a good price for a car that competes with the Honda Civic and Corolla Altis. Especially if you buy those cars, you only get a 1.8-liter engine at that price, or at slightly higher price than that, about $120,000. But the only problem for the Hyundai is that it has a cousin from Kia. Hey, but more about that next.